Welcome to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So, racist Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith, the other clown at ESPN, they never disappoint with their race baiting. They never stop with the race baiting ever. They make a career being race baiters. Stephen A. Smith gets $25 million a year to make up and fabricate stories how the NFL is racist, and not just the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, the Pittsburgh Steelers that hired Bill Nunn back in the 60s to recruit at HBCUs, all black colleges, to find the best players. The same Pittsburgh Steelers that in 1970 had a black quarterback named Joe Gillian. And of course, let's not forget the Rooney Rule that the Pittsburgh Steelers made to make sure that black coaches received fair opportunities to become coaches in the NFL. But before we get into all that, let's start with racist Ryan Clark. He says that Shedeur, let's look at what his comment is about how great Shedeur is and how he should have been a first round pick. And after all we've seen from rookie minicamp, they had three practices. The Cleveland Browns had 3 to 4 practices. They're in shorts and a t-shirt. They're not hitting. He's not throwing passes to guys that are really being covered and facing a pass rush. But Ryan Clark, he claims that he was right. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were totally wrong for not drafting Shedeur Sanders. Because after all, after 3 practice sessions, Shedeur Sanders is better than Joe Montana, Big Ben, Dan Marino, and Tom Brady. Let's listen to racist Ryan Clark tell you himself.
Steelers fans laughed at my reaction for saying they should have drafted Shedeur Sanders. With everything I'm hearing about Cleveland and how he started his tenure there, I was right. You were right. Yeah. Many of us were correct in that that should have been the pick at 21.
You know, RC is.
Oh my God. How his big start. He had 4 practices. The guy literally had 4 practices. He's not facing a live pass rush. They're in t-shirts and shorts. And yeah, he's the best quarterback ever. Do you understand how much money that these clowns get paid on ESPN to make these types of statements, to make these types of racist statements, calling the Pittsburgh Steelers of all organizations racist? They have no shame whatsoever. None. Just zero shame. It's absolutely comical that Stephen A. Smith should run for president of the United States. After watching this clown daily, for anybody to say that is completely out of their mind. I don't want Stephen A. Smith running a hot dog stand. Let's listen to the clown, Stephen A. Smith. He goes into this whole spiel about how the Pittsburgh Steelers are racist and there needs to be an investigation why the Steelers didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to break it down piece by piece. Let's let him talk first.
That you are at the quarterback position spanning years. I'm not saying you didn't draft the quarterback at all. I know they drafted the quarterback, but I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders.
I'm
talking about somebody early in the first
Here's what I can tell you about the draft. If he would have fallen to the 7th round, the Steelers weren't drafting Shedeur Sanders.
Why?
Shedeur.
I love Molly Qerim, the insufferable Molly Qerim, the typical white liberal woman. She's so outraged that Shedeur Sanders didn't get drafted in the first round. Hey, Molly, do you even know what all 22 film is? Never mind, watch it. You know, how come racist Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith, and Molly Qerim, they never talk about the BYU bowl game? Shedeur Sanders' last piece of work in college football. You know the game where the Colorado Buffaloes got blown out of the stadium by a BYU team that didn't have one player drafted to the NFL. And why was that? Because Shedeur took his team out to a strip club for 2 days before the game. Then he shows up to the game, throws an interception, running around backwards like Tim Tebow. He has no idea where the receivers are, drops the ball on the ground for a fumble, looks absolutely atrocious. Never mind, he didn't have a good resume to begin with, but nobody ever talks about the BYU game. Nobody even mentions it. Like, hey, Molly, do you even know what all 22 film is? Molly Qerim has not even watched a full game of Shedeur Sanders, snap after snap. She watches highlights. I would bet my life that Molly Qerim Stephen A. Smith, racist Ryan Clark have never watched a full game in all 22 film of Shedeur Sanders of him holding on to the ball too long, swaying in and out of the pocket, being a bad leader. Nope, never. That would never cross their minds because you know what? That means they couldn't race bait. They would actually have to do some physical work, break down the tape. I had Shedeur Sanders before the draft as a 4th-round pick. He goes in the 5th round. You know why he went in the 5th round? Because he had terrible interviews. Oh, I don't need y'all. Y'all need me. If you don't know who I am, I don't need you. Yeah, great way to handle a job interview. I had his brother as a free agent, and that's exactly what happened. And how did I come to those conclusions? I didn't come to those conclusions because they were black. I came to those conclusions because I watched the game tape and all 22 film and seen the things that they were doing. I was like, these guys don't deserve, meaning Shedeur and Shiloh. Shedeur definitely doesn't deserve to go in the 1st round, and Shiloh doesn't even deserve to be drafted. But that's, hey, I wouldn't expect anything less from the clown show called ESPN.
Sanders was not going to be picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whatever the evaluation was,
Like Molly, she brings nothing to the show. You better wear those stupid skin tight outfits from head to toe, and you sit there and look baffled. You know nothing about Shedeur Sanders' play other than your fake outrage.
whatever decision was made,
Yeah, let me add this, another moron making $3 million a year who does absolutely nothing.
he was not going to be the quarterback picked, drafted, called by Mike Tomlin over
Because
time.
of talent or
That's
because
great-
the
that's
hoopla
great,
they
yeah.
felt like that came with it?
That's
Right?
breaking news.
Oh, let me guess. Coach Tomlin is now racist, right? Oh, but this is what that'll turn into. The owner of the Steelers, Art Rooney, the old racist white man, he told Coach Tomlin not to draft him, even though Coach Tomlin really wanted to draft Shedeur. You see how racist the Steelers organization is? That's where this is going.
That was not going to
That's
happen.
breaking news, and here's why. Mike Tomlin, Nomar Khan was seen
Listen to this.
talking about Shedeur Sanders. They interviewed him, etc. This is when we were speculating whether or not he was going to be a 1st-round pick.
Mhm.
How in God's name do you justify him going to the 5th round? Like, to say even if he went to the 7th round, then what the hell were you talking about him for?
Okay, this is how you know that racist Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith, now, they consider themselves friends with Coach Tomlin and they consider themselves expert. And here is the proof that they have no clue what they're talking about, don't know Coach Tomlin, don't know the way that the Steelers do things. Coach Tomlin, on the record, has said multiple times during the draft process, he likes to give out smoke screens. He talks to players intentionally that he's not interested in for years to make other teams reach. It's a tactic that he uses. The Pittsburgh Steelers, when they draft a player, they never ever speak about the player they're going to draft. If they talk about that player before the draft, you know that they're not drafting him. And when Coach Tomlin gave that speech about Shedeur before the draft, you should have known if you followed Coach Tomlin and the Steelers, they weren't drafting him. This is just total bull. I wouldn't expect anything less from racist Ryan Clark, who claims that he's Mike Tomlin's right-hand man and the Steelers insider, and they like him. Racist Ryan Clark, he should be banned from the Steelers building. I'm embarrassed to even say that he was a Pittsburgh Steeler.
What did you waste your time? You interviewing 7th-rounders? You giving them that kind of time, that kind of.
See, Stephen Smith, you're interviewing 7th-rounders, you're giving interviews and given that kind of timeout. This is how you know the man is absolutely clueless and doesn't know what's going on. Mike Tomlin on the record for years. I intentionally talk to players and interview players I'm not going to draft to make other teams draft those guys so I can get the guy that I want. You know nothing. The only thing you know how to do is be a racist.
Attention, that's just further evidence something other than football
Oh, yeah.
tainted Shedeur Sanders coming into that draft. Because there's no excuse for him to fall that low. And there's no reason why on earth why a franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's been starving to find a quarterback for years, Ryan Clark could come up here and say, even if it was the 7th round, they still wouldn't have picked them. That makes no football sense.
No, Stephen A. Smith, it makes perfect sense because Shedeur is not a leader. He didn't deserve to go in the 1st round. They know that he's not that good. And to try to indicate that Coach Tomlin It's all about football with Coach Tomlin. It's all about winning. He doesn't care if you're orange, pink, purple, a Martian. So if Coach Tomlin doesn't like the player, for Stephen A. Smith to sit here, oh, it had other things to do besides football. He's not going to blame Tomlin because obviously Coach Tomlin is black. So it's going to go back to Art Rooney. You're an absolute Stephen A. Smith and racist Ryan Clark are absolutely disgraces that have no shame whatsoever. It's amazing to me why they still even have jobs, but ESPN's numbers keep going in the garbage can.
Listen, a lot of things don't make sense to me. But what I'm telling you is, as the 83rd pick was approaching, my mind, my dumb football analyst mind said, there is no way they don't pick him at 83. There is no way that this guy who has a first-round grade from many people, at the lowest, a second-round grade based on potential, athleticism, and talent, and what he could do at the quarterback position, doesn't get picked at 83 by a team that's starved to have a quarterback. That you are.
Yeah, we are starved to have a quarterback, but we're not going to reach for a quarterback and set the organization back another couple of years, just like they did with Kenny Pickett.
If you're going to get Aaron Rodgers or you're going to play with somebody else, you at least have a year to develop this kid who seems to have all of the things that make certain pocket quarterbacks great.
But
oh yeah,
could the Aaron
hold
Rodgers
on. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders, the great pocket quarterback. You mean the same guy that was 4-8 his first year at Colorado and then 8-4 the next year, never went to a major college bowl game, goes to a bowl game, gets totally blown out of the building by BYU, a BYU team that didn't have one NFL player on it. Meanwhile, Colorado had 4 players drafted to the NFL and they still lost the game. Oh, no, none of that counts. See, with racist, when you deal with racist, real racist, facts don't matter, stats don't matter, history doesn't matter. They just make it up as they go along, and that's what's going on here.
Like to be a reason why they didn't pick a quarterback.
You
don't think that looms laws over
the only thing I could say is that they knew they didn't want to do anything in this draft that would deter him from picking them. And I would have to believe having a Shedeur Sanders in the building with the push that is going to be given by fans for him to play, with the push that's going to be given by outside voices, that Shedeur Sanders needs to have growth. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wanted to be the second most famous quarterback.
Oh, my God. Now he's blaming Aaron Rodgers why Shedeur Sanders didn't get drafted. It's always a white person's fault. Oh, yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers' fault that Shedeur didn't get drafted. No, it's not Shedeur's tape. It's not Shedeur's attitude. It's not the way that Shedeur handled his interviews. It's the white man's fault.
In a room.
That's a good point. I can't
Oh,
deny
my
that.
God.
You grab Will Howard.
You're
in the
just
6th round.
embarrassing.
You ain't got to worry about that noise with him.
You don't.
So.
Yeah, but is it worth that for Aaron Rodgers? How many years are you really going to get?
Yeah, of course, Molly Querim. Molly Querim hasn't accomplished anything in her life. She got her job because she's a woman. The way she looks is and she dresses provocatively. She constantly dumps on Aaron Rodgers like somehow Aaron Rodgers isn't a good person or a good football player. She knows absolutely nothing other than he's white. So I must criticize him to try to gain street cred. She's the typical white liberal woman that's absolutely disgusting. I don't make any apologies. This type of garbage shouldn't even be allowed on TV. This type of ignorance is not fixable. Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.